I'd like to start off with the Pledge of Allegiance, if everybody could please do the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Is that all right, Roland? Is that sound?
Yep, that's right.
All right, I have a bit of a statement here. I'd just like to say thank you all of you for coming, all the people that came last week also. We're here today again to protest the possibility of acceptance of any unaccompanied alien children or adults from the invasion of our southern border by our governor and elected officials. As we reported last week, several speakers thought some of the unaccompanied children, here I go, that might be coming in as we were talking. Well, guess what? We don't know for sure that any of them came in while we were talking, but from January 1st, 2014 to July 7th, 2014, Obama snuck in 119 of these children. And in my opinion, that was against the wishes of the citizens of Rhode Island. RIILE believes, sorry about this. Yep. RIILE believes that this provides proof that the Obama administration's implementation of the Cloward-Piven theory completely overthrows the system until it fails, and once it fails, the only alternative is for all of us to turn to the government for help. Socialism. If you don't think this invasion is planned, how do you explain the ease with which 52,000 unaccompanied alien children and thousands of adults from 3 countries crossed the Mexican border against the law, which is the stiffest law in the world on immigration, on illegal immigration? After crossing, they were allowed to traverse Mexico unimpeded with someone's assistance, other than, in my opinion, the coyotes. They rode through the middle of Mexico on top of trains in broad daylight, and it was okay. After reaching our border, their presence was classified as a humanitarian crisis. Well, if in fact the president was shocked by this humanitarian crisis, how does he explain that in January of this year he issued a request for proposals from contractors to take care of the up to 90,000 people he expected to show up on the border by June? How does he explain that he put out a request for proposal to transportation companies across the country to start transporting these children across the country again? That would be in June. If he didn't know, if he was so shocked, why was he so prepared? Now, our illustrious Congressman Cicilline went to and met with the presidents of Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador to help resolve the problem. The president went and met with them yesterday, and the only result I heard of was that an article in the New York Times stated that the results of the meeting in Honduras was that the United States was going to set up some headquarters in Honduras to deal with these refugee children in Honduras, and once they qualified, you and I were going to provide them plane tickets to fly to the United States and again be distributed all across the country. pardon me in the wind. Sorry, but this isn't my expertise, all this electronic stuff. Getting back to the 119 unaccompanied alien children, I have a few questions. These children were distributed to supposed family members. By family members, it said parents, aunts and uncles, siblings, and family friends. Who is doing the checking when they give those children over to those people? I was chastised by Gene Valicenti on the radio for not having my facts yesterday, at the same time that the facts that I quoted were published in the Providence Journal, and it said that those children were given over to those supposed family members regardless of the family's immigration status. He said I should check my facts. That was the facts that I got from the Providence Journal. Given over to families regardless of their immigration status. Who's doing the background checks on those people? Have the unaccompanied alien children been immunized? Are those accepting them being paid, as is reported in California? I don't have verification of this, but it keeps popping up, so I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't true, that families are being paid $6,000 a year, a month, to house these children in California. So we'd have to do that on Snopes or whatever that one is. A lot of these children, you have to ask this question: are they going to be in your child's school in September? Have they been immunized? A lot of these children, or most of these children, don't speak a word of English. A good percentage of them have never been in school a day in their life in the country that they came from. We have examples of that all over the United States and in Rhode Island. In Lynn, Massachusetts, the superintendent of schools said in 4 years they had a 1,000 student increase in their school department. None of those 1,000 students speak English, and about 50% of them had never been in school a day in their life. How is your community going to sustain their school departments without a large increase in taxes? It's impossible. It's impossible. And even if we give them the taxes, in my opinion, how are they going to improve the school system? If you have to place age appropriately a 14-year-old young man in school that has never been in school a day in his life in the country that he came from, you can't tell me that that's not going to destroy the school system. That's not going to totally draw or hold back most of the rest of the kids in that class, even the kids in the ELL section of that class. I just want to give you a couple of figures and then I'll be out of here. If you look at what it would cost for these children, 119 children, that's it, just 119. If they enter the school system, on average it's $15,000 per student per year. That's $1.785 million additional cost to the school department. In addition to that, most of these children will require some sort of government assistance or state assistance. That will cost an American family on average $241,000 to raise a child from birth to 18 years old. If you do the mathematics on that, it comes out to $13,800 a year. You put those two together, that's $3.64 million per year, every year, from now until those children are 18 years old. How can we possibly sustain that? Where does that money come from? I'm ahead of myself. After leaving here today, I'm going to ask you a big favor. I've been asking favors of people since 2006 about getting something done about this. Please call, even though you think it's not going to do any good. The governor, the president of the Senate, the Speaker of the House, any of your state representatives and senators, your mayors, your town administrators, your city council leaders, and your school committee leaders, and express your displeasure with what's being stuffed down our throats against our will, and we're very public about it, but they're keeping all of their actions a secret. Let them know that we're not going to be hoodwinked again. We're finally on to them. We're fed up and we're not going to take it anymore. Please join me in this effort to make this go away. We have numerous speakers today, and a lot of folks are candidates for different offices. They've all promised to keep it under 30 seconds. You know, that everyone's just going to briefly speak, and they're going to speak about basically how they feel about this issue. We wish we had a lot more of them. It's a shame that the incumbents feel as though they wouldn't have to bother to come for the most part. And I would ask that you please hold your applause until all the speakers have given their remarks. Thank you very much. And one thing I always say at these rallies, it's not much of an effort, again, on your part today. Just turn around to the person next to you and say thanks for coming. And tell them we wish the hell there was 1,000 more. Thank you. With that, I just want to introduce someone I hold dear to my heart. I advise her against running for public office, but she wants to make a difference, so she's running for state rep in Johnston, District 43, as an independent. My daughter-in-law, Karen Gorman.
Thank you everyone for coming out today on a beautiful day. I know everyone would rather be at the beach, but we thank you so much for being here. Trust Chafee.
Ooh, no.
I just can't help but say it.
Closer to the mic, Karen.
We are being betrayed by our president, our Rhode Island delegation, our governor, and our elected state officials in Rhode Island. We cannot stop complaining about this issue. We have to keep on it. We should be calling them every day and let them know that they cannot do this to us anymore. We are the people that matter. We are the citizens of Rhode Island, and they are not listening to us at all. And if they won't listen to us, well, their opponents are standing behind me. They will listen to you. I'm just going to keep it short and sweet because we've done this so many times. But again, thank you everyone for coming out. And I would like to say that my opponent in the Democratic primary is here, and we're going to show you how civilized people run against each other. So thank you very much.
Okay, the next person you're going to see is someone else you'll all recognize. He's been fighting the good fight as long as RIILE's been fighting the good fight. And he's running against an incumbent that really needs to be rolled out of office. His name is Mark Zaccaria.
Hey, Mark.
Thank you, Terry. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for coming out. Yeah, I'm running against Jack Reed because I'm mad because of the very betrayal that Karen talked about a little while ago. Jack Reed stopped working for you years ago. He's now working for somebody else. I don't know who it is, but it's nobody here. That makes me mad enough to do something about it, and what I've done is stood up and put my name on the line, and I'm going to run because I'm going to work for you. What a concept. Now, in the process of trying to figure out some of the complex issues that face a U.S. Senate candidate, I've been briefed on a number of things that are very complicated and don't have easy answers. But this one isn't one of them. It's pretty simple. Follow the law, Jack. That's all it takes. The laws are on the books to keep us all heading in the same direction. Let's do that, and that's why we have a legislator. If something needs to be changed, we can change it. But folks, your government is being taken away from you by the apathy that you see inside the halls of the legislature right here behind me and down in Washington, D.C. It is your government. People ask me all the time about term limits. Well, you all have the opportunity to put some term limits down this November. Do so. I'm Mark Zakari. I'm running for Senate. Please keep me in mind. Thank you.
Next, we're going to have a newcomer to the situation, just as passionate about his cause and about our cause, and he's running against, I almost have trouble saying it, Representative Cicilline.
Oh, God.
Reese, ladies and gentlemen.
No, wrong guy.
I'm sorry. A little confused. But the gentleman running against Cicilline is Cormac Lynch, a fresh young face, as is Rue Reese, who's
We'll be next.
who's running against Langevin. I'm sorry.
Thanks a lot, Terry. Thanks for setting this up. It's a very important cause. It's a very important day, and I'm glad to see there's a lot of support out here. Mark, Rue running against Langevin, Leanne, Dexter. I'm starting to see a lot of familiar faces as we come to tackle these issues together, and that's how we're going to do it, together. This is a simple issue that's turned into a political football, and nothing has gotten done about it. Ronald Reagan put it best when he said, "A nation that cannot secure its borders is not a nation."
Yeah.
This is no longer a matter of immigration. It's a matter of public health, and it's a matter of national security. We all witnessed what happened on April 15th last year in the Commonwealth on Boylston Street with the Boston Marathon bombing. Unfortunately, that's the reality of the world we live in, that there are people throughout this world who want to do us harm. And they should not be allowed a free pass into this country. Because if a child, even though they have the best intentions to come to pursue the American dream, can get through a porous border, so can a terrorist, so can an insurgent, so can the people who want to bring our government down with less than honorable means. We simply cannot afford to do this. It's simple. We can outline our path to citizenship and debate that until the cows come home. First things first, we need to secure the border. Second thing, I see a gentleman with the sign over there. We need to care for our vets first. Congratulations, sir. Thank you for coming, and thank you for your service. The men and women serving in Afghanistan last week got pink slips. Got pink slips. They said, upon returning from your deployment, your service to our country is no longer needed because of budget constraints. And our president wants us to allocate $3.5–4 billion to give people an illegal free ride into this country? No more. No more. So I'm glad everyone has come out here to take a stand. I hope to see all of you throughout our campaign trail. My name's Cormac Lynch. I'm the endorsed Republican candidate for the 1st District in the United States Congress to represent the 1st District in Rhode Island and Providence Plantations, and I hope I gather all your support along the way. Thank you.
He's got my support just by saying Providence Plantations. All right, let's hope I get this one correctly. This gentleman is running against Congressman Langevin, and definitely needs to be listened to and get rid of business as usual. All the people that are so complicit with Obama, and I think they consider Obama king. So let's give somebody else a chance. Rue Reese, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Terry.
First, let me say, Providence Plantation. All right, you know, I keep hearing about the crisis on the border, and it just makes me recognize that one crisis is going to contribute to dozens of crises. We have a crisis of education. We have an economic crisis. We have a national security crisis. We have a crime crisis. Jobs, you name it. Every single one of these crises will be escalated if we let these illegal immigrants into our country illegally, without a fee, without going through the legal process. There is a legal process for immigration. All we need to do is enforce that process. One thing that I can't understand is we have a nation. We are the nation with the most powerful, strongest defense in the world. The next 10 countries combined do not measure up to our defense. And yet we cannot even defend our own borders. This is a crime. The reason for this is because we don't have the representation in Washington that is needed to make the right things happen. This is why I have gotten up and decided that I am going to push to get someone out who only knows how to do what he is told. We don't need any more politicians in Washington who are just going to do what they're told. We need politicians in Washington who are going to do the people's job.
Yeah, real.
It is your turn. It is your turn, Rhode Islanders. You are the ones with the power. Don't leave it up to the people in there who have not been doing their job for so many years already. They do not represent you. They represent party lines, they represent special interests, and first and foremost, they represent themselves. We need to get our borders secure, and we need the right people in there who are going to do it. Thank you for showing up, and God bless the state of Rhode Island and America.
Thank you. Aren't these fresh faces give you a little boost of confidence that everything's not going to remain the same forever? We have another new face, and this new face happens to be running for mayor of Warwick, and she's pretty passionate about what she believes in about straightening out his city, and she's also pretty passionate about the issue that we're all here for today. And her name is Stacia Petrie.
Yeah, Stacia!
Hi, thank you for everyone for being here. There's a common theme amongst career politicians today. It's, I didn't know. If you don't know, then you don't deserve to be holding office. My name is Stacia Petrie, and I'm the Republican candidate for mayor of Warwick in the September 9th primary. We all know why we're here. We are a very generous nation. The United States continues to pump approximately $50 billion in aid to other countries each and every year. Rhode Islanders currently pay an estimated $278 million per year on illegal immigration, which includes education, free health care, free legal representation, welfare, and state and local operating costs. This equates to $736 to each of Rhode Island's households. In addition to this illegal alien financial burden, the taxpayers of Rhode Island are also burdened by astronomical debt. In the city of Warwick alone, the grand total debt is approaching $800 million. That's an additional $9,500 to each tax-paying household in Warwick alone. I think we can all collectively agree that we, the taxpayers, are giving far more than what we can afford. How many career politicians are being truthful about the dire fiscal reality facing Rhode Island citizens today? Are they talking about the ways in which to stop squeezing the tax-paying citizens of Rhode Island for more? Do not be fooled by sugar-coated political rhetoric. Do not be fooled by a political agenda that is selling out the United States of America for votes, using children as pawns to pull on the heartstrings of Americans. We should be extremely concerned and should take action to stop this before accepting any more debt into our state. Contact your local representative, your senator, mayor, governor, and let them know how you feel. Express your concerns. The time is now to ask your political candidates what they will do to stop burdening you, your children, and your children's children with greater debt. You have the right to ask and know. You pay for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Stacia. See, we keep them coming. The next one is, I don't know, I don't want to introduce this guy. He happens to be my daughter-in-law's opponent in Johnston for District 43. But he also happens to be a pretty nice guy, even though he's a Democrat. He happens to be a really nice guy. And I won't be like Gene Valicenti was with me on the radio the day. He said that Terry Gorman's a really nice guy. He doesn't have any facts, but he does a good job with what he does. He's passionate about what he does. But he happened to be hallucinating in Lincoln last week, saying that illegal aliens were descending on the town of Lincoln, which that's not what I said. And all they were doing was picking up applications to be on the Section 8 housing list. So who wouldn't think that the majority of those people look like they just got here that were going into that office? A lady thought that they were the new immigrants. The Lincoln police thought they were immigrants from the southern border, but they were just picking up those applications. How many do you think picked up those applications? If you don't think we can't afford any more, over 1,000 people picked up applications to get on the Lincoln, Rhode Island housing waiting list for Section 8 housing. Over 1,000 people. So with that, I'll introduce that. I didn't want to steal any of his thunder. I don't know what kind of Section 8 housing they have in Johnston. But here's Ed Doyle, ladies and gentlemen.
You know, we talk about who is not here today, talking about the incumbents that are not here, but you see all the new blood that's here. Even Karen and myself, we're both running for the same ticket for the same office, but this is what it's about. This is about being right, being for the people, and being able to work together. And I applaud Terry and I applaud Karen for what she's running for, and thank you all for being here with us also today. I just want to take just a couple seconds of your time just to say about this this tragedy that we have going on here in Rhode Island and across the country. If I can get this paper unfolded. Just really briefly, you know, we all stand here today with an ache in our heart for two reasons. The first reason is because we're all moms and dads and loving people who do indeed feel the pain of many of those that are experiencing travesties in South American countries. And the second reason, though, is because both we and they have been deceived, taken advantage of for political and criminal reasons, and they have put our families in real danger. Those that have been here, those that are quietly being sneaked in during the night, they're not going to find solitude. Instead, they're going to be prime targets for gang initiations and crime, as we've seen the facts that many of them sneaking in with them are part of the world's most bloodthirsty gang, MS-13. Do we need that in Rhode Island with the gang problem we already have? We, the people of Rhode Island, that continue to be taken advantage of by a state and federal government are in grave danger. Millions of dollars are going to be taken from us to pay for their housing, schooling, welfare, without our approval, our permission, or even our ability, as we are in such dire straits and Rhode Islanders continue to lose their jobs, their homes, and their children's futures. Our children are going to be exposed to diseases that were wiped out in this country, and they'll become targets, like I said, of gang violence. Our state government has lied to us. They have deceived us, and they have become nothing more, in my opinion, than organized crime against our families and the hardworking Rhode Islanders. They're putting us in peril, and they have proven that they will do whatever they want, no matter what we say. Well, no more. It's time we take a stand together and shout until their ears bleed from our voices in unison screaming, "Stop playing with people's lives," and demand that those countries be accountable for their own children and the welfare of their own people. To Governor Chafee, I say this: stop attacking us. Put them back on the bus. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. We only have a couple more to go, but I hope you'll find this as interesting as I'm finding it, as refreshing as I'm finding it also. But the next lady I'm going to have say a few words happens to be very successful in what she does as an advocate in Rhode Island, probably one of the most successful of all. She's getting an awful lot of laws passed to protect children, to protect us from career criminals, to protect the elderly, and she works tirelessly at it, and she told me that she's not done yet. So she wants to just say a few words about our issue today and where the Alliance for Safe Communities stands in conjunction with RIILE. Carolyn Medeiros.
With an introduction like that, I'm humbled. The Alliance for Safe Communities, yeah, we passed legislation this year. One of them being the gang enhancement law. Whereas if you commit a crime under the commission of a gang, being a gang member, if it's a felony, you would get 10 years added to your sentence. If it were a misdemeanor, you would get 1 year added to your sentence. I ask you, what is the point of the work that we're doing when you are opening the doors to MS-13 gang members who part of their initiation includes murder as a prerequisite? Where do you think these MS-13 youths will be gravitating for career choices in Rhode Island? Exactly. There's nothing about safe communities with this agenda. And this agenda of transporting children and adults into this country behind closed doors in the middle of the night is nothing short of legalizing human trafficking. Yeah. That is what we have here, and that is what our elected officials all the way to Washington need to own. They are criminals in this act, and this is legalizing human trafficking.
Thank you, Carolyn. And our last speaker for today, she happens to be a producer for a radio show that's all the way out in California. She does it here from Coventry, Rhode Island. She just started a website. I don't know if you saw it yet, but it's gotten a lot of play in like 3 days about illegal immigration. She happens to have been instrumental in stopping the buses in Marietta, California, through the organization that she's involved with, Pete Santilli, and he has a radio show out in California. And I understand that they have a 90-vehicle convoy headed to the Mexican border, the Texas border, to just make a statement about we don't want this anymore. And also, she told me yesterday that they organized, and I thought we were doing this here today, but in very short period of time, out in Arizona, they organized 400 people to go to Senator McCain's office and protest what he wants to do, because he's in favor of this going to Honduras and bringing all those folks here. And I don't know if I mentioned it before, but the plan is, if Honduras is successful, Guatemala and El Salvador will be next. How many do they need to send us? And her name is Ashley Jones, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Terry. My name is Ashley Jones. I'm the producer of The Pete Santilli Show, and our network is Gorilla. My name is Ashley Jones, and I'm producer of The Pete Santilli Show. Our network is GorillaMedia.com. And I'd like to start out first with a quote from Obama. This was Tuesday night in a Seattle fundraiser. This is what really this immigration crisis is all about. People are anxious. Now, some of that has to do with some big challenges overseas, said Obama, adding, but whether people see what's happening in Ukraine and Russia's aggression towards its neighbors, in the manner in which it's financing and arming separatists, to what's happened in Syria, to the failure in Iraq, for Sunni and Shia encouraged compromise, to what's happening in Israel and Gaza. Part of people's concern is just the sense that around the world, the old order isn't holding anymore. We're not quite yet to where we need to be in terms of a new order that's based on a different set of principles, that's based on a sense of common humanity, that's based on economies that work for all people. So what is our president saying there in plain language? He's saying there'll be no more constitution, is what he's saying. The old order, which was constitutional government for our country, which is the law of the land, and many men and women died for that so-called piece of paper that the libtards want to destroy. He is merging us with Canada, Mexico, and the United States. That's what's going on. And they're using this crisis to get their agenda going, so we get fed up enough where we ask the government for help. Close the border. We want the border militarized. Send the National Guard. We don't want that, because think about this. Maybe they're not trying to keep people out, as Ron Paul said. Maybe they're trying to keep us in. So that's what I would like to say today. This is all about the North American Union. If you don't know what that is, please look it up, because this country is in total tyranny. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. And I'd just like to finish up with a few other words of my own. The Tara Granahan has been on this issue like stink on something. And I think if you get a chance to thank Tara Granahan, please thank Tara Granahan. Call her show, tell her we missed her today, and tell her we're not going to stop fighting on this issue.